Howdy, hi. It is Dear Job Sports MLB Picks and predictions for October 5th, 2024. Don't look now, Guardians. We're not losing a single game the entire playoffs. We're going flawless. You'll thank me in about 3.5, 4 weeks. Let's get into it. All right. First game, we got Royals and the Yankees. I'm taking the Royals plus 170 on the money line and the over of 7.5 runs. Royals have Michael Wacha on the mound, who is 13-8 on the year with a 3.35 ERA, going up against Garrett Cole, who is 8-5 with a 3.41 ERA. Royals coming off of sweeping the Baltimore Orioles in Baltimore, a very boring series in which a total of 3 runs were scored, but the Royals won the series 2-0. I don't know how you only score 3 runs but win 2-0 in this series. Orioles are disgustingly bad at baseball. They have to fire their head coach. So, going into New York, this is a little bit more friendly of a hitter's park, obviously, especially to right field. Going up against Garrett Cole, who has been solid since coming back from injury, but I think he messes up here in a tough spot against the Royals. Oftentimes, when you see teams get breaks like the Yankees have had, they haven't played a baseball game in over a week. They're going to be struggling, whether that's pitching or offensively, they might be a little lackluster. So I think getting plus 170 with a team who just won a series 2-0 in a road ballpark, pretty good value, especially with Waka on the mound, who's not bad. Granted, it is the Yankees lineup. So if Waka does get rocked, then the Yankees probably score 5+ runs. And if they do score 5+ runs, I think the over 7.5 has a great chance of hitting. So we're going to be taking Royals plus 170 on the money line. And then as a slight hedge, we're going to take the over of 7.5. If the over hits, I do think the Yankees win the game. But if not, you got Yankee or Royals plus 170 to maybe hit for a little juice. Next game, Padres and the Dodgers. These two teams just played each other like a week and a half ago. Padres have Dylan Cease on the mound, 14-11 with a 3.47 ERA, going up against Yamamoto, who is 7-2 with a even 3.0 ERA. The Padres have seen Yamamoto twice this season, and they've rocked him both times. They got him for 4 runs the second time they saw him, 5 innings pitched, and then 3 runs the first time they saw him, also 5 innings pitched. Yamamoto coming back off of an injury, only making 4 starts since coming back, going a maximum of 5 innings pitched in every single game. So I do not have the most amount of confidence in Yamamoto to go out there and pitch a good game today, especially considering the Padres coming off of a 2-0 sweep against the Braves at home, in which they scored 5 runs in game 1 and 4 runs in game 2. Actually, no, switch that. 4 runs in game 1, 5 runs in game 2. And then obviously, it doesn't really matter who's pitching for the Padres, but the fact that Dylan Cease is on the mound should mean good things for the Dodgers, as they just saw him about a week and a half ago, where they scored 3 runs in 5 innings pitched. And then obviously you have, with the Dodgers, one of the best offenses in baseball. You got Mookie Betts, you got Shohei, you got Freeman, you got Muncy, you got Teoscar Hernandez, you have Will Smith. Like it just goes on and on. It really never stops. So I'm going to take the over 7.5 runs here. I think both pitchers get scored on early, and then we get some runs late to get this boy over. Next game is Detroit and Cleveland. I am heavily, heavily biased in this game. Give me the Guardians minus 1.5 at plus 145. Tigers currently looking like they have a bullpen game going. Their opener is Tyler Holton, but it doesn't really matter considering he's pitched a maximum of 2 innings this entire year. So just looking like a bullpen game or a starter game for Detroit. And the Guardians have Tanner Bybee on the mound, 12-8 with a 3.47 ERA. Tigers coming off of sweeping the Houston Astros 2-0, and that was in Houston. They've arguably been baseball's hottest teams for the last 2.5 months. That is until they play the Guardians, baby. We are not losing a single game. We are winning everything here on out. Put the house on it. Actually, don't. Put your shoe closet, like a little, maybe a shoe in the closet. Put two shoes in the closet. Put it on this game. I'm going to be back in the Guardians every single game of the playoffs. If you've been around this channel, you should know that's no surprise. Heavily biased. Love my Guardians. Let's get after it. I do like the fact that Detroit had to go from Houston back to Detroit now to Cleveland. They're not even using one of their starters. They really don't hit the ball very well, no matter who's on the mound or who they're going against. They just win games because their starting rotation is insane. So the fact that we get to see a bullpen game bodes well. First game of the series, day game. Cleveland is going to be rocking for this game. Give me the Guardians minus 140 or minus 1.5 at plus 145. Then the next game, I'm taking the Mets also at plus 145, but that is on the money line, and I'll be rocking the under of 7.5 runs. The Mets have Kodai Senga on the mound, who's only pitched in one previous game this entire year, so it doesn't really matter what his ERA is. And they're going up against Zach Wheeler, who is 16-7 with a 2.57 ERA. It's kind of impossible not to back the Mets here after their top of the ninth inning fiasco that they had with Pete Alonso going yard, them taking the lead in Milwaukee. So I'm going to rock him here for plus 145. Both of these pitchers are really good. Obviously, Senga does not have the history of pitching this year, but he was really good last year for the entirety of the year. In his first game back this year, he went to Atlanta, only gave up 3 runs. So he's solid. He knows what he's doing. Doesn't have playoff experience, but he does have a lot of starts. So I think that's good value at a dude plus 145. Has pitched a lot overseas. You know you're getting a good quality arm. And then for the under 7.5, he's going up against Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler doesn't really need much introduction. 16-7, 2.5 ERA speaks for itself. One of the best pitchers in baseball. One of the lowest ERAs in baseball. He's got one of the best strikeout stuff in baseball. Period, point blank. Mets plus 145, under 7.5. The under is a slight hedge because if the Phillies win, I think they do win like 3-1. But if the Mets win, I can think they also win 3-1 because that means Senga kind of killed it. So I'm taking the Mets and I'm taking the under. Then finally, we're going to look at future odds. All right, everything makes sense to me here besides the fact that the 3 AL Central teams are all plus 900 or above. Guardians plus 900, Detroit plus 1,000, Kansas City plus 1,200. There is a chance that in the ALCS, it is 2 AL Central teams. Right now, as I'm making this video, 3 out of the 4 American League teams are all from the AL Central. You have a guaranteed at a minimum AL Central team in the American League Series Championship Series, and that is the Guardians or Detroit, because one of them has to win the series. And then you have the chance that the Royals end up beating the Yankees, and then they move on to the ALCS. So you got 3 out of 4 chances that an AL Central team is in the World Series, and you are getting them at 900 plus 1,000 and plus 1,200. That is crazy. So in terms of value, I think those are the teams to go with. In terms of worst bet, it has to be the Yankees. By far, without a shadow of a doubt, has to be the Yankees. I would take the Phillies before I took the Yankees. Yankees, their bullpen, one of the worst in baseball. They're horrible. They always find a way to lose. They suck. And then on top of that, if Juan Soto and Aaron Judge are not hitting the ball, they have no other forms of offense. 0. None. You're relying on, Alex Verdugo, and then that one dude they just called up, Dominguez. Like, who's hitting the ball on this team? Anthony Volpe? Like, no. None of these motherfuckers are hitting the ball. So it's really just Guardians, Tigers, Royals for me. Give me the AL Central. You got to guarantee it at a minimum 1 team in the ALCS. Come on now. That's too good a value. All right. That's going to wrap it up for me and this video. I appreciate you guys watching and tuning in. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.